Hello everyone, my name's George Hammond and today we're back to the usual sort of video. And today we'll be taking a look at Versilian Studios Chamber Orchestra Professional Edition. Now I want to firstly preface this video by saying thanks to Versilian Studios for sending me over a copy of this library to do this video. However, as with all my reviews, I try to remain unbiased in the opinions that I share. Now, VSCO, as we'll be calling it from now on, it goes for around $229 US, and it features 15 gigabytes worth of samples, and the entire library features quite a lot of instruments. So far, I've got 70 loaded up in Cubase, but there are more, but these are the ones we'll be taking a look at, and that isn't including the scripted legato patches. There's no true legato, but there is a scripted legato. We won't be taking a look at that because it would just take too long. This video is going to be very long anyway. But there should be timestamps or chapters on the play bar, so if you want to skip to a specific instrument, you should be able to do that quite easily. And the library is using 13 gigabytes of RAM, so it's quite a optimized library. So how about we jump in and take a listen to how its instruments sound. So we're going to start off with the brass here. So if I just open Contact. These are the horns. So as we can see, this is taking up 41 megabytes. There's quite a few different microphones on each instrument and different articulations here that we'll be going through. So I'm just going to leave it on the main for the minute and let's take a listen. It's quite a dry library, so I have got a black hole loaded up on Ascend, so let's just add that and turn it down a bit and see what that sounds like. So that really does help, so I'd recommend using a reverb, but this is a chamber orchestra, so it is really dry, so it's really nice to be able to just add your own reverb. We'll turn on the close mic here and listen to just that. So it's really meaty, those horns are really meaty down there. The far mic. That really captures a bit more of the room. And of course we have this mic here, I believe this is outriggers. Or overheads, sorry. So it sounds pretty nice. We'll just go back to the main microphone for a minute and take a listen to the non-vibrato sustains. Sounds really nice, and we've got some effects here as well. I can definitely see myself using this one, maybe. You can really hear the keys in there, can't you? So that's a horn section. There's also the instruments. These are the trumpets. here's the non-vibrato sustains. And we've got staccatos. And we have doubles. Pretty nice. Flutter. And we have falls. And couple mute sustains. Never really been a fan of brass mutes, to be honest. We've also got 7 tenor trombones, which is a really, really large trombone section, so it's really interesting to see that here. I believe the guy who makes this library, I believe he is a trombone player. I seem to remember reading something about that. But there's some interesting trombones in here. They've got antique ones from 1905 and one from 1940 something. We won't have a look at those, we'll just take a look at the modern one, but there's some really interesting, wide range of selections of trombones. So here are the 7 tenor trombones. So a really, really nice tone, and we'll turn on that close mic as well. So really, really meaty. The non-vibrato sustains. And staccatos at horse. And some effects. That's almost like a war horn. That's really nice. Really nice. The bass trombones. Now I prefer that tone over something like BBC, which I've always thought has really terrible brass. If we load up the core version here, which is roughly the same price, I think it's a little tiny bit more expensive than VSCO. So if we load up the bass trombones here, I always think that sounds quite weak. If we now take a listen to the bass trombones, really meaty. It's definitely a smaller room, but I definitely do prefer the sound over things like BBC, so I can see myself using this quite a bit. So take a listen to the rest of the bass trombone articulations. Really, really harsh. It really gets those FFF layers there. Really, really nice. And you can go between just the soft sustains here, which can be really useful for that mellow brass if you're going for that. We've got the loud ones only. Really go up to that FFF, which is almost like curve, isn't it? It's really nice. The cello French horn. Ooh, that goes really nice in there. Really, really beautiful. Love the tone in that. So we've got swells. Which really do capture that tone level. I want to just put on Black Hole here for a second. Just stunningly beautiful. Lovely, lovely tone. I don't really like moods at all. That's really nice as an effect thing, but you'd have to turn it up quite a bit. It is quite quiet. And you've got diminuendo there as well, so that's really nice. And then we get into some of the lesser sampled instruments. You don't often see these, so it's really nice that they're included. So we'll start with the solo alto saxhorn. Which just has a really beautiful tone. And it has these two low notes here. So it's really nice to see some of these instruments included. All that is nice and expressive. It's really nice to have those called ups included. And then we move on to the solo Tenorhorn. Really beautiful tone as well. Just stunning. Really nice those lyrical passages, especially if you get the scripted legato on. So really, really nice. Let's get to the solo trumpet. Sounds a little bit weaker. Also, by the way, if I just go to the brass here, all of these, there's multiple different versions which are mixed slightly differently, so there's a lot of choice. So, turning off some microphones, I can get a sound I prefer. So there's lots of different moods there, which is really nice if you're into that. We have the alto trumpet. So that's really, really nice, I think. Nice to see Marcato included in this one. The rest don't seem to have it. So there's definitely quite a mix in what sort of articulations you'll get in each one. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be each instrument has the same set of articulations, which is a bit of a shame. However, it's quite nice and workable, so it doesn't really matter. Pretty interesting sound. And here's the solo bass trombone. Really, really lovely tone, really thick and juicy, really nice. Really lovely sound on that tuba. A lot of sample companies don't get it right in my opinion, but this does sound pretty good. Though I'm less of a fan of those staccatos, to be honest. I prefer the sustainers on that one. And here's a solo off. I don't know how you pronounce that. It's a strange brass instrument. It's sort of very long. It looks almost like a bassoon from what I remember, but it does sound lovely. Let's take a listen. It's really, really nice for those sort of soft, mellow lower tones. So it's really nice, I think. Just listen to that vibrato, that's amazing. So that is really useful for effects. Then we've got a mellophone. Got crescendos on this. Really nice. There's a bit of a wobble in there, but I quite like it. It gives it a bit of character. It's that one, it's that D. So yeah, it's got a really nice bit of character in there. Lots of call-ups, which is really nice to see. Really nice. And here's the euphonium. Really nice to have that curve in there. I think I prefer the tone of the euphonium in solo brass and tame still, but I do quite like that. Here's the cornet. Really nice swells in there. And we've got staccatos. So quite harsh. So that's the brass. We'll now move on to the keys. So here's the grand piano. So this is the bright one, I believe. There's 3 different types of grand piano, and there's a few other more cinematic ones, but I haven't got those loaded up. So that's the bright one, and this is the strong one. And here's the warm one. I think it's the warm one. Yeah. Not really a big fan of the tone of that grand piano. Let's take a listen to the upright. That is pretty good actually for the upright, but I don't like the grand piano at all. But considering this is an orchestral library, the fact they've included these instruments to start off with is absolutely phenomenal. In fact, there's organs and there's harpsichord with all these other more traditional instruments you'd find in an orchestra and other orchestra libraries. That is really, really cool. So listen to the Italian harpsichord. Got to try and remember some Baroque stuff. What's really nice is they've included different stops here. So that does sound really good. I think that's a really good harpsichord. There's a few out there which aren't very great, but I do quite like the sound of that one. with this progression. So that does sound really nice. We've also got muted here. So that's really nice. And there's also plucked. So I really do love that harpsichord. Really nice tone on it. And then we've got, there's multiple organ patches. I've just loaded up 2 of them. So the powerful one and the soft one. Go Tenor Ensemble. The upper register is quite quiet in my opinion. So quite a nice sounding organ, and we've got the soft one here as well. Really lovely tone on that organ. I do love the sound of the organ, and that one sounds fantastic. I think I'd probably split the playing the low octave and the high octave, the pedals, etc., in the manual, and do it on different tracks and do it that way, because it seems a little bit unbalanced. So I'd recommend just doing it that way, and mixing the levels a little bit how you want to. So now we've got Mallets. Here's the vibraphone. Really, really nice. And there's loads of different articulations here, which is amazing. So all different mallets. Here's a felt mallet. Really lovely sound. And here's the bowed. So lots of lovely articulations. We've also got a bowed fast attack. And here is the sustaining vibraphone. Beautiful, beautiful sound. Up the volume there, but you've almost got a hurdy-gurdy. And here's the marimba. We've also got tremolo. So that's really nice. And we've got a xylophone here. We've got two. This is the first one. With mallet. Some really nice scales there. We've got an F-string xylophone. We've got different mallets for this as well. I just want to put a bit of black hole on here. Beautiful. Then we've got the Glockenspiel. I do love a Glockenspiel. Very simple, very nice. Here are the Tubular Bells, and I tried out the Tubular Bells earlier. One of the first things I do with orchestral libraries is, if they have Tubular Bells, is try them out. I love the sound of them, and I really do like the sound of these. They're almost church belly. So we've got muted hits as well, and here we've got a tube Glock. And onto the percussion. So here we have the timpani. That's a really lovely timpani tone, to be honest. Sounds really war drummy, sounds really deep and thick. Really do like that. Most timpani is a bit more fluffy, I'd say. Lovely and deep. We've got loads of different mallets here too. And my camera's run out of battery, so from here on outwards it's going to just be me, unfortunately, and the microphone. You won't have my lovely face, but let's get on with it. So these are hits in the center. Really lovely tone. Rolls. Really like this one. Take the key off and moves it. Really lovely. And we've got the ensemble percussion, so I haven't loaded up every single percussion instrument because there's so many. So we've got some ensembles here. So we'll just rush through the percussion a little bit. These are ensemble rolls, which are really lovely. Really speeds up the workflow if you want to do some stuff like this. Really nice to have those. It just speeds up the workflow so much. It's honestly fantastic that we have those. And onto the special percussion. Ensemble. Sounds very frame drummy to me. Has it got frame drums? Let's have a look. Doesn't seem to, but as you can see here, that is all the small percussion. That's the whole percussion thing, so there's loads and loads of percussion, which is why we're not looking at it all. Here's the bass drum. We've also got scrapes, which is really nice. I really like using those sort of sounds for war horns. If you add a bunch of reverb and EQ them, but you can get really, really nice war horn sounds, etc. Really nice tone on those snares, tenor drums. These sounds as well you can use for war horns, etc. Mix them all really, really nice. Bongos. And congas. So that is all of the percussion. Onto the strings. Now I haven't loaded in a lot of the solo strings. I thought we'd just do the sections here. So here is the violin section. So I'm not a big fan of that sound. To me it sounds a little bit too synthy. This percussion here is probably quite good for layering, and in general I think this library is a fantastic library. It's unowned, but if you layer it with other ones, it's out of this world really. Don't really like those colongas, not a really nice tone on them. These are artificial harmonics, by the way. I do like these patches though, because it starts in the non-vibrato and it goes to the tremolo. Which is really nice for specific sounds. So I do like that quite a bit. Violas. Don't like those colongas at all, really don't like those. Onto the cello section. I do like the spiccatos on this cello. Interesting seeing that distorted sustain in there. So this has got almost like throat singing mixed in with it, but there's that you can't get that on its own, unfortunately, which is really sad. Got a bunch of those transition ones, and here's the solo bass. Interesting seeing the harmonics on the bass. Interesting effects there as well. Onto the harp. Now, Versilian Studios do their own harp, and I've tried it. Really, really good. I've tried the free version of it. So the full version is probably fantastic. I'll have to see if I can maybe get that to review one time, because it's meant to be really, really good. And if it's anything like this, it will sound lovely. Harpsichord, Prise de la Table. And we've got harmonics. Some nice effects there as well. Now we're going to take a sip of tea, and then we're going to go on to the woodwinds and take a look at those. Here's the flute. I'm going to add Black Hole. Black Hole's really great on winds. I really like the tone of that solo wind. I'm going to turn down Black Hole a little bit. So there's 4 different solo flute options we can select from. I've just put number 1 in here. The other 3 are just different mixes of the same instrument, I believe, from what I remember reading off the manual. So a really, really, really beautiful flute, and here's the solo clarinet. Feel the attack's a little bit too high, but you can just turn it down. And I'm just going to put on Black Hole a little bit on there too. Really, really, really beautiful. Almost sounds like a duduk down there. Got staccatos, of course. Really like that flutter. Onto the solo bass clarinet. Really beautiful tone. Really like that bass clarinet. I think it sounds great. Got solo English horn. Add a bit of reverb to that. Onto the solo oboe. Onto the solo piccolo we do go. Onto the solo bassoon. It's really, really lyrical up there. I love it. Stunning. This bassoon, and most of this woodwind, I think, also sounds a bit better than BBC, which, considering, BBC's by Spitfire Audio, it's quite impressive, really, that this library by Versilian Studios is better in quite a few regards. The brass is better, and the woodwinds are better, in my opinion. Strings, though, BBC does come out on top on the strings, but then that is what that library does best. Got the recorders here. So we can do all our sort of medieval stuff. Really, really beautiful. And here we've got the soprano one. Then we've got half-tone trills and alto ones. So it's really nice to see these recorders included. So I really do love the sound of these recorders, and I think it's great they've included. There's a lot of interesting woodwind instruments in here, like the Mayan flutes and the not the native instruments ones, the Native American ones, which we'll get onto a little bit later. Did we do the alto one? We did. So onto the tenor one. Sounds really nice. Onto the bass recorder. I do like those distorted ones, those are great. What I now want to do is just set all the recorders to their standard non-vibrato one, and I want to do all of them at once. Sounds stunningly beautiful. Now we go on to something a bit different, a blown bottle. Which is really strange to see included in an orchestral library. Same with the most of these ones after here, so the ocarinas, and so this is a flutophone. Stuff like this is fantastic. I really love stuff like that. Really usable for sort of effectsy stuff. We've got an ocarina. Now we move on to the tin whistle. I really do love it. Staccato. And then we've got some ornaments. When you do the combined articulation, it has all these in, and I think it's velocity controlled. So that's really, really useful and cool. It's quite a quiet one though. So that's pretty cool. Now we move on to the wooden flute, and this is the fief. Onto the Mayan flute. Wow, that is stunning. That's really, really nice. It's nice to see these more traditional and ethnic ones included. Here we have a Native American one. Really, really nice. That's the standard sustain. Then we have those ornaments there. Now the final one is a Tibetan flute. The staccato. So overall, we've just gone through 70 different patches from the library, and there's quite a few more there. You saw all that percussion we weren't looking at, so there's loads of stuff in this library. It truly is stunning. There's lots of stuff in it, and I think for the price, it's well worth it, even if you don't like everything in it. I don't like the strings, for example, but I can see this library being really useful for layering, so layering up with other libraries, just throwing it in. I think I'll use it for quite a few ethnic things. There's some really good ethnic instruments in there, and the recorders are stunning. There's some really, really lovely sounds in there, and the brass, I think, is phenomenal. That brass is going to replace all the BBC brass I use, and probably quite a bit of the Century brass as well, just because of the fact that it sounds so much better, so much fuller, and that is due often to the room. It can get lost a bit in some wetter rooms. However, I do think that it just sounds fantastic, that brass. And the percussion as well. The percussion has some great sounds in it. The timpani is fantastic, and those scrapes and all those warhorn stuff. There's so many things you can use that for. It's fantastic. Really is a lot of great stuff in it. So I'd probably give this library a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that really lets it down from me is the lack of true legato and the strings. The strings don't really sound that great at all to me. The harp is beautiful though. It'd be interesting to see if we could possibly get a copy of their harp library to take a look at. But other than that, also the keys, the pianos aren't that great in my opinion. I do love the harpsichords. The organ is pretty good, but I'd recommend separating out into 2 tracks and doing it that way instead. But overall, I think the library has a lot of good stuff in it. Really, it really is fantastic, especially for the price. It's $229, and you're getting just so much stuff in here. And there's so many articulations. It's fantastic. So I really do want to thank Versilian Studios for sending it out to me to check out, because there's a free version of this library. It doesn't have as much stuff in it, and I tried that many years ago, I think now, and I never thought it was that great, the free version. However, this version really has redeemed it, and I think it sounds really good. I'm quite surprised really just how great it does sound, because there's just so much stuff in there, and it's quite a small sample library company. It's not like the big 3 or whatever, so it's really has quite a lot of great content in it. But my name has been George Hammond. Thank you for watching. I really do need another cup of tea now. We've been recording this video for nearly an hour now. It'll be an hour after I finish this outro. So thank you for coming and watching this video. My name's been George Hammond. Do go check out the library. It does sound really good. It's been great speaking to you all. Great going through this library. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.